Hi all. Last comment on Core 3. I want to be sure and give you some guidance on application number 11, where they talk about the motivation driving genetic modification of prokaryotes for pharmaceuticals and eukaryotes for food. You need to assess the ethics and potential risks and potential benefits. So they want you specifically to look at GMO food crops. There is a weed killer called glyphosate. This is the active ingredient in a product called Roundup, produced by a company named Monsanto. And then there's BT crops. The most common form of this crop is BT corn. And in the United States, we consume just millions and millions of tons of corn. So you need to be really comfortable with the discussion behind BT corn. So this is application 11. So when we talk about B subset T, corn, right? What they're talking about, this BT is a reference to a soil bacteria. Bacillus thuringiensis. So instead of E. coli or Homo sapiens, it's Bacillus thuringiensis. Right? And what makes this bacteria unique is that it's a soil bacteria. And this bacteria produces a toxin that kills insects. And you say, hold it, it's a toxin. Well, why do they use it then? Because this toxin is a protein. And if it's a protein, that means that it's a product of a gene. Good old transcription translation. So in the mid to late 90s, some biotechnicians decided to take what is referred to as the BT gene. Now, of course, this plant has hundreds of thousands of genes, but the gene that specifically codes for this toxin, and you take the BT gene and you insert it into corn. And you say, why corn? Because corn is in just about everything we eat. We grow a form of corn that stores large amounts of fructose in each kernel. Thus, you have high fructose corn syrup, and it's in almost all of our food. So when you start talking about the fact that we eat BT corn, and this BT corn then produces a toxin, then we need to be aware of the studies that have been done on this food product. What's the long-term impact of eating this toxin on humans? And how long do we have to test it before we can deem it safe for human consumption? Then when you look at the ecosystem, when you put a BT corn crop out in an ecosystem, it's going to flower and it's going to produce pollen, and that pollen then is going to float with the wind and go into the local ecosystem. That's bad news. Because as that pollen then gets into the local ecosystem, the local plants start then expressing that same toxin, and you start killing the indigenous insects of the local ecosystem. That's the bad news. That's the criticism. What's the good news? Well, since the farmer has a crop that naturally produces a toxin that kills bugs, the farmer doesn't have to use an insecticide to kill the bugs. So it's cheaper. It's more environmentally conscious because, of course, they saturate the crops. That then soaks into the soil, gets into the local water table that we drink. It washes off and gets into the local streams, riverbeds, and ultimately ends up into the ocean. So when you talk about GMOs, it's not a clean black and white discussion. It's not, oh, there's only good news. Oh, there's only bad news. It's a balance between the two. That's what makes this a controversial issue. Now, when you look up Roundup and you talk about glyphosate, you need to be very, very aware of your sources. You need to think TOK. You need to think about and be sensitive to bias. The company that produces Roundup and glyphosate is Monsanto. And there are people that hate Monsanto. So please be very, very sensitive on your sources. Get arguments and counter arguments, and be sure that you have an informed position. Have fun.